Let me get my recording started. All right, there we go. Cool. All right, so we were talking about the summer. Sorry if you were watching the recording. We just started now because we have some technical difficulties. But summer is here. Leadership Academy number 10, $3.5 million goal as a division, and it's all about personal growth, energy, and your opportunity. So I want you to think about this summer. I want you to think about your mental toughness. I want you to think about this quote, and this is a great one to write down. Life equals practice. Everything you do in life is practice for the next thing you're going to do in life. So there are no bad experiences unless you label them bad experiences. Just because things don't go your way doesn't mean it's bad. It just means it didn't go your way, but you still got experience out of that. So how do you look at everything as an opportunity to grow? How do you look at everything as an opportunity for you to become a better you? It's all about having the mental toughness and all about making sure that you're getting the most out of every single day. Back to the Navy SEALs rule, right? 40% rule. When you're about to break down and quit, you're actually only 40% of what you're truly capable of. And I love sports analogies. For myself, vector marketing inspired me to run a marathon. And I remember 2 years in, I was watching these 50-year-old dudes run ultra marathons that work for our company. That's 52 miles straight of running without stopping. And I was looking at it and I was like, well, if this 50-year-old dude can do 52 miles, I can certainly do 26. So I signed up for a marathon. I'd never done a half marathon. And by the way, it was unbelievable to see what I was truly capable of. Now I've played soccer and I've run, 5Ks and 10Ks, but I had never run more than 10 miles straight. And in my training, I was having to run 10 and 12, and all of a sudden I got to my marathon. And there were multiple points in my marathon where I felt like breaking down. There was a point where I actually pulled my hamstring on one side and my quad on the other, so I legit couldn't walk. And I went to stretch, and right before I did, another marathoner stepped off and he said, "What hurts?" Now he's like, "I'm a doctor." And I was like, "Oh, my quad." And I was about to do this stretch, and he's like, "Don't do that, you'll rip it." He gave me a different one, spent a minute of his own marathon just to help me. And I limped the next mile to get it back into moving. And I just remember this quote, and it's so valuable for you when you're about to quit on this job or your opportunity or anything in your life. And here's the quote I remember telling myself, and this was the mental toughness that I needed. And it was the following: if I just keep moving, I'll keep going. That was it. If I just keep moving, I'll keep going. But you can't afford to stop. Because if you stop, you're actually going backwards, in my opinion, because time keeps moving forward and you're on pause, which means the distance between time and you gets bigger. So you can't afford to stop. If I just keep moving, I'll keep going. If I just keep moving, I'll keep going. And I just kept taking another step no matter how bad it hurt. And the crazy thing is that was around mile 19. I still had 7 miles left. But by mile 22, I was limp, walking, whatever you want to call it, for about a quarter mile, and then walking. And then pretty soon, by the time I got to mile 25, I ran the last mile to finish the race. We as human beings hold ourselves back more than anything else. And we need to understand that in opportunities like this, anything is possible. So I want to know who's going to be the most mentally tough person going into the summer. Who's going to look at adversity and say, "Bring it on, adversity. I'm better than you and I'm going to crush you." Who's going to be the person that doesn't let limiting results or thoughts hold them back? And they say, "I'm committed to blank activities." Who cares about the results? Because at the end of the day, guys, goals are not meant to be met. I've never hit any of my goals, or if I have, very few in this business. Most of the goals I set for myself, I miss. Because if I'm hitting all my goals, clearly my goals are too small. In my opinion, goals are designed to stretch us and push us and motivate us to go further than we thought we could. So set a goal for yourself right now for the summer. It could be a number goal. It could be a different goal, but you got to have goals. You got to have objectives. You got to have focus points that you're going after as we move into the summer. So it's all about mental toughness. It's all about understanding that your actions are your life, and it's all about understanding you can't be soft. Don't be soft. And don't let your people or the other people in your organization be soft. You have my permission as the division manager running this entire area that if you see softies, call them out. "Hey, bro, can I talk to you real quick?" "All right, sweet." "Dude, don't be a softie. Don't like softies. We don't allow softies here. Don't be lame. You don't get soft." We all get soft. I get soft. But when you have somebody that you respect and you look up to that calls you out on that, accept it and be like, "All right, you're right. Let me level up." Let me get back into level 10 energy, right? And think about this message that you've just been given for the beginning of our recording today. Sound cool? All right, so before we jump into some teaching topics and some material here, what I want to talk about is summer kickoff. If you're not going to summer kickoff, you need to immediately talk to your manager if you're part of this meeting right now and discuss your opportunity, because it doesn't matter what sales level you're at. And the beautiful part about it is we're paying for you to go. We're paying for your hotel. We're paying for your food. We'll get you down there. Most conferences cost you a couple $100 out of your pocket. Luckily, you can charge a commission account, but this is the one conference out of the entire year that as an assistant manager, we take you for free. Now, again, you got to pay for your transportation down there. Carpool, we'll pitch on gas if you need, but it's a lot of fun, quality time. It's going to be down in Houston, and you're going to see the best of the best reps all the way from Arizona all the way over to Alabama come together and be able to discuss, right, how awesome this opportunity is and teach you some really incredible stuff. You really don't get Vector until you've been to a conference, especially on a region level. 3 weeks into the job, I invested $800 for the flight and a conference to go to a conference, year-end banquet, and I was never the same. After seeing it, I thought I was a big deal at $15,000 in sales in my first 3 weeks. I was seeing people that were selling $100,000, $200,000, $300,000 in a year. I was being instructed by them. I was seeing people make bonus checks that were 6 figures, just their bonus for a year, and I was like, holy crap, this is a whole nother level I didn't know was possible. So you don't really get the true Vector experience until you've gone to a conference like this. If you don't know about it, even if you do, let's talk about the details from it and how it's going to break down, right? Talk to your manager. We can get you signed up. First off, it starts around 1 o'clock on the 12th of April. So that's a Friday. Those of you driving, right, you're going to need to plan to leave with plenty of extra time. You don't want to be walking in late. These are professional business conferences. You want to be dressed to the nines. I'm going to be in a full suit and a tie. You want to look good, right? And you want to make sure that you're prepared with notes and all of your documents, right? Bring your manual, bring your training, your blue book. You want to have all your stuff because a lot of the talks are going to give you instruction about additional things to write in, or you're going to do some activities and role play and things like that. So again, it starts around 1 o'clock on Friday, the 12th, which means you want to plan to be there by noon. And Houston, from most of the areas up here, is about a 6 to 6 and a half hour drive, right? So plan to meet extra early in the morning, carpool down. Different people can trade off with driving, and make sure you're there, right? You'll check into your rooms. We'll be ready to rock. We're going to have meetings from about 1 until 5. We'll have dinner, and we'll have some more meetings until about 9. The best part of it, in my opinion, is round tables. We have our best of our best reps sitting at all different tables with a stand in the center that has all their top strengths, and you get to, for an hour, eat free dessert and walk around and ask any and every question to people at hundreds of thousands of dollars in sales on how to level up and get better at your business. It's one of the things I love about Vector is we're all about helping. We're all about sharing. It's not cutthroat. You go to any other company, people love to talk crap and crush each other, and they don't like to share. Not true here, so pretty awesome. Cool. Second thing is you'll get a good night's rest. Saturday morning, you get breakfast. We'll jump back into some meetings. You're going to end around 3:30 on Saturday the 13th. So you'll be done around 3:30, then back into some cars, eat some food, and you'll be able to drive back. The nice part is you can use the 14th for catching up on homework on that Sunday, get back into school. If you need a letter of excusal from school, talk to your manager. We can forward that to you. It's very professional from a region manager. And I just want to be clear, this is not you going down to like party at South Padre. This is you going down to become a better you, become a better student, and grow personally, professionally, and financially. And most professors would take an interest and support you in wanting to become a better you, right? So if you have issues with it, you can get my cell phone, we can talk, but we want to bring a freaking army. We want to bring every office fully stacked with staff, and it is not too late to get signed up, not too late to qualify. So definitely talk to your manager about the details on that. Sound good? All right. Next major thing you need to put in your calendar and your schedule, because this is the last Leadership Academy of the year, we are jumping back into next year's development. So in my opinion, 2020 starts now. This is when we start to corral our next year development, and I'm so fired up looking at all the faces right now and figuring out who's going to be running a branch office, who's going to be running a district office, who's my next $100,000 rep in our division, right? And how are we going to develop them to those levels? Because I think that now is where we start to corral people, and over the course of the 100-day sprint in the summer is where we figure out who's really serious about this opportunity and who's not. And those are the people we put in the next year leadership development so we can stack all of our 20 territories moving forward. So that being said, it all begins on April 25th. You want to put that in your calendar. We're going to have a division meeting in Edmond, Oklahoma. If you Can't make it there, you can jump on Zoom, but they're way more fun when we pack a room with 40 or 50 people. It's going to be an absolute blast. That is our division meeting summer kickoff. It's going to start at 6 o'clock. It's going to go for 3 hours. We're going to have our top level CSPs that are Hall of Famers, over $1 million in sales at that event, teaching, coaching, and helping you out with learning and getting better at all of your things. So you guys can definitely look forward to that. That being said, I want you guys to know that the first official day of summer, right, is the 30th of April. So that's when the official contest begins. That's when all of the promotion starts. And you want to look at it as April 30th as when that begins. So again, we're having the kickoff a couple days before. And my goal for you would be, can you have a grand day Tuesday? On April 30th, can you sell $1,000? How great would it be? Brand new campaign, everyone's back at zero. Of course, you keep your career sales, and then boom, you level up, $1,000, you're already on the reports. I can't wait to see our campaign division report when we have 25 reps all over 1,000, 20 reps over 2K, right? Top 10 reps already over 3,000, and you're going after some really big numbers. So wanted to make sure you're looking at that and you're excited about it for sure. That being said, your first big push of the summer is going to begin in May. So it's important to put down May 14th through the 28th is our first division push. We are going to treat this as a real push. This is not a practice push. There are going to be half-day call days. I want you to think about having 10, 15, or 20 appointments booked ahead of you. It's right after finals week. It's perfect timing for our territory. And on the 14th of May, you want to be going big. There are going to be lots of prizes for 3,000, 5,000, and 10,000 and above levels. Lots of free Cutco, lots of cool contests and trophies, and you just want to get yourself mentally and emotionally prepared for that. Also physically, how many leads do you want to have by that point, right? And how much money do you want to make? For a lot of you, within the next 5 to 6 weeks, you can double or triple your commission depending on where you're at right now and already be at 30%. You think about in the first 2 weeks of the summer right after finals, if you knock out $6,000 at 30%, that's sweet. You just made over $2,000 in the first couple weeks. Most jobs that pay hourly for a summer, you're not going to make anything close to $3,000, right? And in 2 weeks, you already made $2,000. Not to mention you got closer to the next promotion. So look forward to those dates. Sit down with your manager right now. Make a plan, because as goes that push, as goes your summer. And if you are already at $5,000, $6,000, $7,000 in the first couple weeks of the summer, imagine what happens with the next 90 or 80 to 90 days, right? It gets pretty exciting when you look forward to that. So the May push, you want to look forward to that. It's going to be big. Also, 1 week from today, next Thursday, which I think is the 4th of April, we have a guy that's been coached by Tony Robbins that's coming to the Edmond office. It'll be on Zoom. He's giving a 1-hour workshop at 6:30 about how to live the life of your dreams. And it's not vector related at all. It's just personal growth related. It's 100% free, no strings attached. If you know anything about Tony Robbins events, they typically cost $1,000 to $10,000 to attend. And this guy's going to be offering it for free because he's doing a 5-minute plug at the end about UPW coming up in Dallas with Tony Robbins. So you definitely want to look forward to that and make sure that you put that down in your future schedule and in your future notes for sure. Sound good? Cool. All right. Last thing that I want to talk about is just a couple of announcements before we get into the instruction part of this. And what I want you guys to jot down real quick is the following things. For those of you either currently opening or currently running offices or about to open offices, a few things that want to be checked off the list before the 12th of April are the following. Number one, you got to get your office lease signed. You got to get that approved, right? We want 100% of our offices to have official leases signed and move-in dates already decided upon before we go out to kickoff. Managers, help your office. Look for office leases, right? Talk to them about good parts of town. A lot of us are still learning our territory, so we definitely need as much advice as possible. Number two, Facebook Jumpstart program. That's a rule for everybody. If you don't know about it, ask your manager. Facebook Jumpstart is huge. It's where we're going to attract our top quality reps, and it's where we're really going to level up as an organization, but we need your help, right? April 1st is when we start our messaging, 50 messages a day, and we're going to do that time and time and time again, so you want to make sure you're keeping that in mind and getting that done, no doubt. Cool? All right, next one is campus visits, right? We had a campus career fair today at University of Tulsa. It was phenomenal. We met a ton of great kids, and the awesome part is those kids were not just from that school, they were from all over the state, and it was amazing. So you want to definitely take advantage of getting out to your campuses, high schools, colleges, and making sure we're attracting our top quality reps, making sure that you're going to every single one of them as much as possible. So let's make that happen too. And the last two is your personal PRs, right? You want to start to make a list right now of 100 names and numbers of people that you've associated yourself with in the past to try to recommend for your office, right? The number one job we all have is to become team builders. If you're an office manager, your job is to recruit people. If you're an assistant manager, your job is to get buddies on the team, right? Your ultimate goal is to replace yourself, right? When you're a rep, you want to get buddies on the team to replace yourself. When you're an assistant manager, you want to develop other reps to become an assistant manager to replace yourself. When you're a branch manager, you want to attract top quality talent so you can put out a branch next year. District manager, even as a division manager. Right now, I'm looking at, hey, who's going to prove themselves for the next 3 to 4 years, get to $1 million office, and then eventually opening up a division in their future, right? And you just never know. You know, for those of you who don't know my story, I started this job because I knew 10 people that I could make a $15 base pay off of to pay for a snowboarding trip, and I planned to quit. 13 years later, I've never had another job. It's been the best job I've ever had, and I haven't had to borrow any money, and I've lived a pretty awesome life. You know what I mean? So you just never know. So think again optimistically in what's possible if things go great. Cool. Last one is we want to reach out to our past reps in our territory. We want to get them involved in our program, and we want to make sure that they understand the potential that they have in front of them. Cool. So thank you for the long opening comments. I apologize. Thanks for your patience with the technology issues. I know that spent a lot of our time, but we might go a little bit over, but there's a 30-minute buffer between this meeting and division meeting tonight. I think we'll be just fine, but I want to make sure we knock it all out. Our two teaching topics for today is number one, advanced training, right? Mastery. And it doesn't matter if you're running advanced training. Some of you might not have been through advanced training yet. You're like, okay, well, this would be a great AT1. But what we're going to do is we're going to do a walkthrough about what we're looking to accomplish during an advanced training, right? And how we're going to get that done. And I think it's so important that we focus on that and we master it as we move forward. Does that make sense? So really, really important as we move into that. Cool. The second thing we're going to talk about is we're going to talk about Vector Live. And when we talk about Vector Live, we are going to discuss a little bit more about how to look at reports, how to look at different stats, how to understand what's going on in your business in a day-by-day realm so that you can actually use the information, the data to gain awareness and then be able to know how to respond. You know, if you had been around me for a while, you'll hear my quote. I say this often, but I think that life is 10% what happens to you and 90% how you respond. I also think that success is 80% awareness and 20% action. But most people fail because they never gain awareness first. They just look at the problem and they try to take action without gaining awareness of what the real issue is, right? And you think about being a doctor, right? You walk into like, you know, a doctor's office and you say, I hurt. And they just say, great, we'll take these pills and let me know what happens. That's not a doctor I want to go into, right? I want to go into a doctor that's going to ask me more questions. They're going to ask me, where is the pain? When did it start? They're going to check my vitals. They're going to really get all of the information, the details, before they choose what to prescribe or what action to take. Does that make sense? So a lot of us in life are guilty of being the bad doctor. We see a problem and all of a sudden we just react, right? So again, going back to the emotional state, all of us, our first reaction is always an emotional one. You've got three options with your emotions. A, react, but typically when our emotions are high, our decision-making ability is pretty what? Pretty low, which means our reaction is probably not in the best version of ourselves. Okay, the other thing you can do is be ignorant. You can say, oh, whatever, I'm not feeling mad, I'm not feeling angry, I'm not feeling sad right now, and you can throw it in a box and never visit it again, but it never goes away, and it stacks up until it overflows, and then the dam breaks, right? We've all been there before, too. We don't want either of those options. So what's your third choice? What's the best way to respond when you have emotional state and things happen? It's to gain awareness. It's to process the emotion, gain awareness of what's really going on, and then make an educated decision once that emotional state is a little bit more lowered. And that's the challenge that I have for all of you guys as we move forward and as we walk through all of that. Sound fair? All right, sweet. So I'll come up for air real quick before we dive into the Advanced Training 1 walkthrough. Questions, comments, concerns, any details that you guys need?
Yeah, Tyler has a question.
Go ahead.
Would the summer kickoff be excused for classes?
What is your question? Are you wondering, like, can you get out of classes?
Yes. I mean, I know
No,
I can
will
just.
it be excused or is it going to be an unexcused absence?
It's a great question. I think that's a case-by-case basis. Obviously, we can't make those decisions. They would have to. But yeah, that would be the way it would break down.
All right.
Yep, good question. Any others? All right. Sweet. Well, let's dive into our advanced training one. I am finding the PDF right now, and we're going to open it up. And we want to talk about, oops. I'm going to share my screen so you guys can see this as well. We want to talk about advanced training one. We want to talk about the mentality behind a rep and what we're looking to accomplish in advanced training one. And you think about a business like this, you know, in the matter of 2 days, we basically give representatives a crash course on how to go out there and do the job, right? And it's fast, it's intense. There's a lot of things that it might be unanswered. They're already uncomfortable enough. And a lot of this is learned by trial, learned by fire. Just throw them out there, see how it goes. And so our job as our job as leaders and coaches is to make sure that we're holding our reps' hands. And I promise you that they are always going to be their own worst critic. They are going to be ridiculously tough on themselves. So the last thing that you ever want to do when a representative leaves training is judge them on the results. Because if you judge them on the results, whether they're good or they're bad, you're not acknowledging the effort that it took to get those results. I'm a dad. I've got a 10-year-old. I've got a 6-year-old. I love being a parent. I have baby fever right now. Wife's not so much into the baby fever, but she's the one who has to be pregnant, so I'm okay with that. But I will tell you that I absolutely love being a parent. And what I've learned through parenting has helped me so much as a manager. And so when I think about the process of parenting, if I only recognize results for my kids, I'm never going to be able to properly parent them, because the moment that they don't get results, they feel like they failed. So instead, what do I need to acknowledge? I need to acknowledge the process. I need to acknowledge the effort. I need to acknowledge the time. I need to acknowledge the progress, right? You know, over perfection, over doing it right. The fact that they learned something. And so the thing that you want to write down, and this is so key, because I get some of you are sitting here right now and you're like, dude, I'm not going to run advanced training. I'm not going to run training. I might never run an office. And you need to know this stuff just as well as your manager. And here's why. They need to see consistency in every conversation that they hear, right? So they launch through the manager. Manager tells them all these things, and then all of a sudden they go out there, they have a couple bad demos, they come into the office, and blank AM is running the Sunday night phone jam. Well, the actual district or branch manager is in a separate meeting, and so during that time, they're talking to an assistant manager. And they're like, it's really tough, and nobody bought, and this happened, and they're gonna tell you all the challenges. And we need you guys as leaders and assistant managers to be able to listen to those challenges, acknowledge those challenges, and then be able to change the topic and ask leading questions to influence their decisions. So here's one of the most valuable lines you'll ever use, right? And that's the following, okay? Everything will be fixed at advanced training 1. Everything will be fixed at advanced training 1. Cool? And you got to coach people, you got to teach people, you got to let them know that at advanced training 1, everything is going to be fixed. Because all I did in training, or all our district or all Carissa, whoever, all they did in training was teach how to show Cutco. And dude, you've successfully shown it off now. If you're selling already, you're way ahead of the curve. In advanced training though, Blank's going to teach you how to sell it. And I'm so excited for you to learn how to sell Cutco. And that's the big key, right? Is that conversation and that difference. Sound fair? All right, excellent. So that being said, we need to make sure that we are getting people to the advanced training one. We need to understand that if somebody doesn't make advanced training one, really if somebody doesn't make any event, they're 50% more likely to quit every event they miss, which is really scary. So if we can assume that they leave training 100% committed, or as close to 100% as they'll be in a while, then if they miss advanced training one, they went from 100% to 50%. And then if they missed their first PC or meeting with their manager to build a relationship, they went from 50 to 25. And this is what, 4 or 5 days into their fast start? And then if they missed that meeting and they missed the next advanced training 2 or team meeting, now you can see how within a week they went from, I can't wait to show blank, to, I don't think this job is right for me. And some of us might have gone down that path. But if you ask any of the managers here, I bet you that you'll find that almost all of them showed up to their advanced training one. And almost all of them got a manager meeting in their first 4 to 5 days. And almost all of them showed up to their first team meeting. A lot of success is just showing up. So as coaches, we need to be able to use our words as the tools to influence our reps to actually show up. Does that make sense? Because if we have the most valuable content ever, but they never go through the process, they're not going to learn any of that. So what I'm going to do right now is share my screen. We're going to watch this. I want you guys to be writing down lines that Drew uses. I want us to be looking at the different tips that he's giving, the different conversations that he's having, how he's teaching things. But the most important thing that I want you paying attention to is why he's doing what he's doing, why he's teaching it. This is not a video of Drew running advanced training. This is a video of Drew walking through the advanced training leaders guide and explaining why and how to run advanced training the best way possible. Sound cool? So I'm going to share my screen right now. We're going to hit play. We'll check this out. And then again, if you have any nuggets or you have any takeaways, don't be afraid to speak over Drew and yell out nugget. Don't be afraid to go like a light bulb, right? Whatever you want to do. But again, we want to be involved and engaged. We want to be present. And then at the end of this, we'll dive into a couple of other tips and lessons learned as we move forward. So thank you, Zoom. Is it sharing? Supposed to be sharing. All right. Here we are. Wow. Da-na-na, sorry. About had it with this MacBook Pro. 4 years old. I'm buying a new computer with my next bonus. How long have you been saying?
You've been saying that since
Here?
fall when I was an
I
assistant.
think I've said enough to finally follow through with my action. Huh?
It could be attachment issues.
Huh?
You don't want to get rid of it.
It could be, yeah. Well, the MacBook that I had prior to this got stolen, and so this was bought with the insurance that came from it. So maybe it is. You're going to go far in this business. Tell the DM what he's doing, right and wrong. I like that. All right.
Until Nick gets on this one. Yep. Start.
I'm going to skip ahead just a bit because
The point of advanced training is really to build relationships and to connect with our people. When we did the video advanced training, the content was there, but we lost the entire purpose of advanced training. It's just keep top reps at a high level, stay super motivated to go after a big fast start, and for those who didn't get off to a good start, who hit a couple stumbling blocks in their first weekend, to regain their confidence. Advanced training one is all about emotional management. We've said this for so long that the hows of the job are easy. You cut rope, you cut leather, you cut a penny, you ask for referrals, you set up appointments, you just do the same thing over and over again. So the hows of the job, it's really simple. You make phone calls, you cut stuff, you write up orders, and you ask for referrals. That's it, right? There's some detail involved in there, but it's a simple job. It's all about the why. So advanced training one is giving them the why. It's the why of their motivation, their reasons. It's the, whether it's development conversation or advancement or painting the picture or giving a vision or just telling them that it's okay to have challenges and it's a positive thing to hit stumbling blocks in this job. So it's all about emotional management. Attendance. Before we dive into advanced training and getting off to having a great advanced training, is attendance. Attendance starts from your promotion during day 1 and day 2. You're dropping hints throughout training. You're getting them excited about what they're going to learn. Some of the phrases that I like to use is, this weekend is teaching you how to show Cutco. At advanced training, we're going to teach you how to sell Cutco. So this weekend, we're teaching you how to show. At advanced training, you learn how to sell. Advanced training is taking all the things that you learned this weekend, the positives and the negatives, and using those as building blocks to build your Cutco career. So getting them excited for things like the secret weapon. When I talk about advanced training and putting in their schedule, I build it up like it's the greatest thing that they need to look forward to. Oh my gosh, I cannot wait for you to be at advanced training. You guys are gonna have a ton of demos this weekend, make a lot of sales, get your promotions. But let me tell you about advanced training. We're gonna be teaching you how to sell at a really high level. The things that we teach are to show you how to how to sell Cutco every single time at a lot higher level. You're talking about the secret weapon. Oh, I can't wait to teach you the secret weapon. The secret weapon is how to sell a set every single time without even trying. Okay, so it's things like that to get them excited about the next event. You are a walking, talking testimonial, and Advanced Training 1 is a giant commercial for Vector. It's a commercial for how to do the demo the right way. It's a commercial for the rep opportunity. It's a commercial for management opportunity. It's a commercial for doing things the right way. You are basically just delivering a full documentary on how to become a great Cutco rep now and in the future. So the attendance, again, it's the big time promotion, and then throughout the weekend, every single PDI call, reminder about advanced training. Hey, can you get advanced training a couple minutes early? I just want to get a couple minutes extra with you just to go over some tips and look at your schedule. The easiest way to get somebody to come early is, hey, why don't you come about 15, 20 minutes early? I just want to check out your schedule and talk about your goals for the week before we get started. Or, hey, I just want to get some time with you before everybody else arrives. You do that with every single person, then you get your entire training group 100% there 15 minutes early. You can actually start on time and run a good meeting. So everybody needs to feel like they're key to your advanced training. It's consistent. We talk about them can lead to advanced training. Oh, you sold a homemaker? That's awesome. Guess what? At advanced training, I'm going to teach you how to turn that homemaker into a signature ultimate set. You know, or, oh, you had a no sale? No big deal. I'm going to teach you how to turn every no sale into a sale. That's why advanced training is so much fun, right? Oh, you had a piece order? At advanced training, I'll give you some tips and tricks on how to turn a 1-piece order into a 3-piece special, right? It's just promoting. Oh, you got 5 referrals? Cool. I got to teach you some cool things in advanced training. You're going to learn how to get 10 points every time, right? It's not like saying, oh, you're doing this wrong and you get better, but it's how cool is it going to be when, right? So continue to promote. Because you don't want them to ever feel like, oh, I've got this, or I've learned everything. You don't want them to feel like they're autonomous already right after initial training. All right, so with advanced training, the actual event, early. Some of the most frustrating things that I see is DMs or branches running events without copies. You know, without the right, handouts. So think about what you need for advanced training, and it has to be set up an hour before, right? Just let's get back to the basics. When you're set up an hour before and you're totally prepared logistically, then mentally and emotionally, you can give your team everything you have. You're not running. Sometimes you feel like you're scrambling. You never deliver the goods when you feel like you're behind. Or when you're calling to your assistant and say, oh, can you get me a couple productivity planners? Or, oh, get me, some more rope, because at the end of advanced training, when everybody leaves and everybody's asking for rope and leather, but you want to focus on PRs, but yet you're still sitting there filling up rope bags, that's wasting an opportunity where you could be digging in and getting an alley-oop PR, rep-driven PR after advanced training, right? So being totally set up, whether it's QPRs and base pay, schedules and weekly planners, simple things that increase productivity, like having the weekly productivity planners. Print it out. In the beginning of the summer, order twice as many you need for reps. They're like $1 each. So you get a couple hundred planners, and make sure every single rep has time management on lock. It's the most important part of the job for representative. But sometimes as a DM, just because we didn't have time to go to Staples, we're jeopardizing the success of an entire training group because we just didn't feel like getting $1 copies. Or we just didn't have time to stop by. But those things have to be done well in advance. Rope and leather, having bags already made up so it doesn't take 10 or 15 minutes to do rope and leather at the end. I'd rather spend 10 or 15 minutes more on the phone jam, 10 or 15 minutes more on PRs. All the things that we cut corners for, it's not because the program doesn't allow for the time, it's because the little things in logistics we're usually just backwards and behind on that. So make sure you are well prepared. Having assistants, whether it's field training signups, PC signups, advertising signups, you have assistants to help you out with those things. That way you can be efficient, start on time, and maximize the two most important parts of advanced training, which is the phone jam and PRs. Right? Two most important parts.
Right?
We don't want to start 15, 20 minutes late because then it's taking the two things out from the end, which are those two programs. So you have to keep that time protected.
If you don't drive more demos and you don't drive more PRs.
I like to have all the recognition on the board. Spend the time. The reason why you want to be set up an hour before is because for that half an hour, the hour before to a half an hour before, that's you preparing recognition. Maz and I, we would sit at the whiteboard and we would go through every single rep. We'd write down every person's name, put their sales, recognition, and then find something, whether it was attitude or number of orders or, there was their first set sale or whatever it was. We would do something big to recognize every person and make sure everybody felt good coming into advanced training. So having the recognition on the board already. So think about what you want to promote, what's important to your office, and it might be a little bit different for you than it is for others. And it might be different depending on the group because there's just more or less to recognize on the size of the group or how well of a start they got to in sales. So sales, promotions, attitudes, sets, even somebody selling gift sets, first set sold. I see Bree in her group me has a ton of set selling promotion. Prizes earned for the fast start, the big deal, consistently recognizing that. There's so much available in Vector, and you want to overwhelm them with positive things to recognize, appreciate, and for people to go after. PR scheduled as well. If somebody had no sales, but they have 3 friends scheduled for interviews, you recognize that. That changes their mindset of this job's not for me versus, wow, this is cool. I can get recognized for a lot of things. So everything that you can recognize, find a way. Number of demos set up, number of demos completed. Even if somebody goes over, they put in the effort. Right? Find a way to recognize people. As Matt said, don't give up on somebody just because their first day or two. You might tell the reps that too. It's like your first 2 days on the job means nothing. I don't care if you sold 6,600 or nothing. It means nothing. 2 days, you're going to base an entire career of a job on 2 days. 2 days means nothing. So put it behind you, positively or negatively. Let's focus on what's ahead of us.
By the way, you can use that same quote, 1 week.
So big time recognition.
Right? Hey,
so advanced training really starts and it's all about energy. Think about where your energy is at, and you have to remember that it's not fake rah-rah, fake positivity. It's genuine excitement and enthusiasm for what the job is. So monitor yourself, film yourself. Do you sound like an infomercial or do you sound like a promoter, right? You're a promoter. I know I say you're a walking, talking testimonial. That doesn't mean infomercial where it's just fake and disingenuous, right? So it's authentic, genuine appreciation for the job and passion for the job, not just all high fives like, oh, you guys are great, you guys are phenomenal, we're awesome, but it's got to feel real. So when somebody comes in, or when the group comes in, you kick it off, we're talking about first weekend results, the 10-80-10 rule. I like to give examples. Now, for some of these points, as I walk through, I'm going to give full role play and teach you some background. Other parts, I'm just going to explain the philosophy and the objective of that section. So the 10-80-10, it's fun. It's upbeat. It's kind of what Maz said, that no big deal attitude. It's, hey, 10% of you got off to an absolute, horrible start. You're probably thinking about quitting, and that's good. You should think about quitting. It's part of the job. When you ever have a rough day, you'll get used to that, and that'll be no big deal. But the first time you feel a challenge, the first time you feel an obstacle, sometimes you question yourself. That's normal. If you're questioning yourself right now, you're exactly where you should be. Right? That's why you're here for advanced training. So you're validating their emotions, because no matter how somebody feels about the job, it's their right to feel that about the job. KB, you said we feel like 1,000 thoughts a day or something, or how many 10,000?
50,000, 70,000 thoughts.
Yeah, how many thoughts are they thinking when they're sitting there in front of you, when you're telling them, hey, great job or congratulations? They're making judgment, constantly as you're promoting. So it's okay if somebody feels bad. Don't shy away from that. It's like, hey, just like you strike out in baseball, or if you get like a quarterback gets an interception. You think if Tom Brady throws an interception, he's going to get upset? I love using sports analogies. So when a quarterback has an interception, do they go to the bench? They're like, football's not for me. Sorry, Bill. I can't do it. No, Brady gets out there. He says, Coach, put me back in. Give me another opportunity because I'm not going to throw another interception. I'm going to score a touchdown.
Okay.
So use the analogies, right? Figure out what's important to you, right? It doesn't have to be sports. So that 10-80-10, it's really engaging and understanding where they're coming from. And you can even say things like, hey, it's okay to be frustrated as long as you use that frustration as motivation. And certainly with those who got off to a good start, I point them out. Hey, Adam, 10% of you got off to a phenomenal start. Everything's going well. Adam, I mean, listen, you sold $5,000 in your first weekend. You made $800. But if 2 months from now I said, hey, you made $800 in your job, would you be thrilled about it? No. So, yeah, you got off to a good start, but it's only been 2 days. So I want to talk about complacency. I want to talk about the importance of consistency. Because if Adam, and I always use the number one rep, and I use them as an example. I want everyone to know and put a target on that person. I want them to know that everybody's looking at them also. This is how you get 10K fast starters. At advanced training, you call them out and you say, I know Adam's not going to get complacent. Because I spent 2 days with Adam in training. He sold $5,000 this weekend, but he knows that as soon as he takes his foot off the gas pedal, everyone's going to catch up. So what do you think Adam's going to do? He's going to go home and he's going to get on the phone. He's going to book more demos than everybody else because he's going to take what got him here to this point and he's going to continue doing it. Right? So I call out the top people and I make sure that they have the expectation and I say it publicly in front of everybody else. That way they know that they have to keep up that same workout. So you're using people's examples. And as long as you have somebody that you know is has the confidence for it, they have the tough skin for it. If I said, hey, by the way, KB got a rough start. Like it's a zero up here. You guys all see this too. Do you think KB's thrilled about that? No. But do you think he's pissed either? No, because he's got the heart of a champion. You know what he's going to do? He's going to go home. He's going to make just as many phone calls as everybody else. He's going to set up a full week, and before you know it, he's going to be right in line with everybody else. It's just been 2 days. Who cares? You know what the biggest difference maker in this job is? It's attitude. It's attitude. It's keeping your consistent emotions. Big sales, small sales, stay steady, right? So you guys know how to, rip through those conversations, but you're picking out the top people in the group and calling them out to stay consistent, and you're taking the bottom people in the group and you're building them up in front of everybody else. You're basically telling everybody what you want them to feel. I'm not giving up. I'm going to stay strong. I'm going to make this work. I'm not going to let my past results dictate my attitude for the future. Right? Because then you have the worst rep in the group and the best rep in the group equally motivated to kick ass for days 4 through 10. So that use examples and tell stories too. Right? This is where I talk about off the park. What's her first name? I remember her last name. Anyway, she was from like 9 years ago, and the reason why I remember it so vividly is because she went 0 for 4 in her first weekend, 0 for like 6 in her first weekend. Came into advanced training at 0. Had that conversation that day. Ultimate Homemaker Studio ended up selling over 3K in her first weekend. Went from 0 in her training group before advanced training to #1 for the first weekend by the end of Monday night, because of what she learned in advanced training. So find those stories. Think about them. The more you tell, you've got to land with everybody in your group. They need to relate to somebody high level on your team.
Do you have stories for every experience?
And you're building up days 4 through 10. Hey, first weekend doesn't matter. Here's why this is, days 4 through 10. The next week is the most important part of your fast start. Purpose of today, we want to be very straight and up front with what the purpose of advanced training is. Sell more, get more demos. That's why we're here. We're going to teach you how to sell more Cutco and how to get more demos in your schedule. We're going to book it full and learn how to close on more sales. Big promotion of the second weekend, always first talking about secret weapon. The big focus here is the assignment. The reason why we have good first weekend pop and why as a division we're one of the top in first weekend PPR is because we get the assignment of 10 demos. I don't know why 6 or 7 or 8 years ago or 10 years ago we didn't just say, well, why don't we just do the same assignment for the next 5 days, or we do the for the fast start promotion and credit and things like that, but just make an assignment. Your assignment's 10 demos from Tuesday until Monday. The next 7 days. Your assignment is 10 appointments. That's 1.5 appointments per day minimum. That is a very low expectation. If you feel like you can't complete 10 appointments over the next 7 days. Sit down with me one-on-one. We'll make a plan that works for you. Don't worry, you're not going to get fired, but we have to make a plan for you. The reason why this is so important is because I'm your accountability coach. My job is to make sure you're successful. I cannot sleep at night if I know that my reps aren't setting themselves up for success. The only way I can feel good as a manager is if I know that all of my reps have the opportunity to consistently hit the newsletter. Let me tell you what the newsletter is. If you don't remember from the first weekend, the newsletter is $1,000 in sales. It's where you get recognized by the division manager, the region manager, everybody in the company gets to see those who are over 1,000. We have this really cool program called Consistency String. If you're 5 weeks in a row over $1,000 in sales, you get the roll-up packet to hold your homemaker pieces. It's really cool. You're an actual knife selling machine with a knife briefcase. 10 weeks in a row over 1,000, you get the K-bar knife. It is insane. 52 weeks in a row. Let me tell you about Derek Vidal, who just hit it. He gets to go down to Austin, Texas, and get a day of decadence with Lloyd Reagan, our region manager, because he's never not hit the newsletter for an entire year. That's why it's so important. The most consistent, best reps of the team, you want to make sure 1,000 is your watermark, that's your benchmark. So the reason why the assignment is 10 is because everybody in here who schedules 10 appointments for the next 7 days, you're guaranteed to hit at least $1,000. So that's why there's a minimum, because I want everybody to be on track for these consistency strings and making sure you're making big paychecks. Got it? Okay. So explaining the assignment, because then if somebody feels like they can't do as many, they're coming to you and they're very apologetic. They're like, man, I'm going to be going away for half the week. I don't know if I can do this. So you give the assignment, you're going to raise the level of your group automatically. I don't know if you saw the reports, but our PPR could use a little bit of a bump. So it's big on the standards and expectations and showing them like 10 demos for the rest of your class, for them, 20 demos, and 30 to 40 demos. And you just break it down. Hey, if you do 10 demos for the next 7 days, here's what you can expect. If you do 20 appointments over the next 7 days, 20, 30, here's what you can expect. And if you do 30 to 40, this is what you can expect. And it's just a sign. If you do this, this will happen. It's inherently a knife god. But if you do enough demos, you'll turn into one pretty quickly. Fast start prizes, this is where you talk about fast start prizes. Recognize those, if anybody who hit their homemaker already or the fisherman solution, and just use it as a way to promote Cutco. We want people to be excited about earning more Cutco and building up their sample kit. If you have the time, you can do a high-low, or what was the best thing to happen this weekend. I like it sometimes. It depends on the group, but it could be good. Use phrases in the section for use phrases like, I can guarantee you, what if I told you that the effort you put in, this is that 10-day fast start expectation. If you said all those things during training, you can't stop saying those things, right? It doesn't mean you just don't say it once and they're like in their head. Like you guys think about those conversations all the time because you've been hearing me say it for years. But if they just heard it a couple times in training, you have to consistently say those things. The rep advancement levels on page 2. We spent 15 minutes on rep advancement levels. You want to make it real for them. And just even thinking and giving them a minute to think about when they want to get to each milestone by. So instead of just saying, hey, at 3K you hit 20%, that's so cool, and at 6K you're 25, at 10K 30 is awesome. It's this big event. Yeah, that's great, but think about when you can hit it by. What is it right now? It's March. It's March 17th. So how about by finals or by midterms or by think about the holidays. Right in the fall, I like every month there's a different major holiday. So I want to be at this milestone by this date. This milestone by this date. And you're just making it real and tangible. And when they picture inside their own head, that's when it becomes real. So how do you get your promotion to be lodged and stuck and imprinted in their mind of, yes, this is what I want to do. Yes, I want to go after this level, right? So it's not just promoting what the levels are, it's promoting what the levels are for that person, right? Imagine making this much before the semester is over. How much are all your friends making this semester? How much do you want to have saved before the summer starts, or what percentage do you want to be at by the time the summer gets here? Promoting the CSP program, all the levels that Robert said, we'll be able to change some of these things based on the levels, but you're promoting those. We'll have the poster that way you can have in the front of your room and you're just pointing to the wall and showing them how to get there. But you can break down how many demos it takes. If it takes 20K, an average of 60 demos, that's 2 demos a day for a month. Do 2 demos a day for a month, you'll get to service call training. That's it. Work hard for a month. But when I say work hard, you work hard. You do everything I tell you. You just eat, breathe, and sleep, echo. Because then the next 4 years of your life are just swimming in cash, just dripping with money. Right? Be confident with those things too. Right? This is a sales job. We want to have the rah-rah. Okay, here are the keys to getting there. Master the fundamentals, and this is where you're just ripping through. This is quick. Attitude and work ethic. And this is where you use your personality. This is not Drew's advanced training. What would Drew say? This is where Will Haugen talks about the importance of attitude, the importance of having good work ethic. What does it mean to you? Repetition and passion. Getting to that CSP level. Following the manual, cutting food, have fun, just simplifying it. This is a lot of information within a couple days. Again, getting back to macro view, what are the only two really important things for advanced training? Phone jam, booking more demos, PRs, right? Everything else is more about the feel. It all leads up to building up the energy, and then powerful phone jam, and they leave with the expectation of, I'm going to book a lot of demos. I don't really remember a whole lot of what he said there, but I know that I should book demos because whatever it was, it got me excited. Right? That's the key. Lots of demos, lots of PRs. I want to be a part of this. So keep it simple because it's too much information to retain. This is where you can talk about CPR training, closing phoning recommendations. You know what's great about that? You can master it just by reading. Everybody know how to read? Great. Right? So it's simple. You're reviewing the importance of PDI, and this is where you pick the best person in your group that PDI that weekend, and you just promote the heck out of them. Let me tell you why why I was so impressed with Corey this weekend. Communication is so key to this job. This is the reason why I know Corey is going to become one of the top reps in our team. He's probably going to become an assistant manager one day because he called in from every appointment, no matter what, with a positive attitude, even after his no sales. Right? You're building up what you want everyone to do. It's teaching through recognition. That's all advanced training is. You're either teaching through recognition of those in the group, or you're teaching through recognition of past reps or CSPs or other examples. The learning opportunities, you're not like showing them on Vector Connect where to find the videos. You're just mentioning, hey, there's an entire resource where you can just sit and listen to the best out there. So most of these are just one-liners. In fact, most of advanced training, you don't need to expand. And you can understand intuitively what you need to explain a little bit more if they don't understand a term. But most of it is just so simple. It's just, you don't need a whole lot of explanation. But the examples and relating it to people, management advancement levels, same thing. It's just quick to pique interest, but this is really powerful to name drop. So next to each level, somebody's name makes it so real and tangible. It's not just a program, but this is an actual possibility, right? You turn programs into opportunities and possibilities for your people by putting a name to it and saying, this was done by this person who went to your school, or this person who started last week or 2 weeks ago, or this person who started a month ago and they're already at this level. Okay, so a quick name drop. So figure out all your stories to tell. Even like your one-liners about like being a district manager. I love being a district manager because this, and this. It's not a 10-minute stump speech about why you love your job. That's an inappropriate time to talk about that. But like your quick 2 or 3 lines, like this is why I chose to be a DM. This is why I love my job. This is why I love working with you guys, and that's it. Right? So it's not a full-on explanation. QPRs and paychecks. You guys don't skip over it. It's important. The worst thing you can have is somebody leave because they just didn't know how the process works. It's just the most frustrating thing. So be very explanatory and detailed. All right. So that's the first part of advanced training. The rest is the teaching. Now I'm going to go through it. I'm just going to highlight a couple keys for each one of the 10. So 10 keys to getting more sales and 10 keys to getting more demos. The way that we structured this was based on a sequential order from A to Z, how to do the perfect demo. So you can promote it that way too. It's everything I'm going to teach you. I'm going to teach you 10 keys on how to get more sales and 10 keys on how to get more appointments. The cool thing about this program is that each of these 20 keys is in the same order, 1 through 20, of how to perfect this job. So I'm going to give you an overview. I'm going to teach you some philosophy. I'm going to give you a couple stories. I'm going to explain each of these things, but these are really step-by-step A to Z, how to become the best rep in the company. If you master all these things, you can compete with top reps in the nation, right? So everything is going to be a comprehensive review. Now, as we go through, there are going to be some things that you're more confident in or less confident in, and that's fine. It's a continuous process, and you'll improve as you do more appointments. But the point is, I'm going to teach you how to become an absolute all-star and a badass right now. All right, so the first steps are simple, and you're not going to go into super detail if you don't need to. But based on the results of the group, then you can be a little bit more explanatory or a little bit more surface level. So if it was a group that was really, really low level in sales, didn't get off to a good start, when you talk about following the manual, that's where you're explaining just like this is what the CSPs do. Like the best reps in the company, they read it word for word because it works. They wrote it, they still use it. Nobody in this company ever tries their own thing. Why? Because anybody who does their own thing, they're not in the company anymore. You can't ask them what it's like because they're not here. The only people that are here and do well are the ones that read this word for word. It's as simple as that, right? So now, if you can explain value, right, to your top, right, it's all about building value and price expectancy, and you can go as detailed as you want, but just based on the group, right, you can tell your people on what they can handle if you want to go deeper or more surface level. Follow the manual. Cutting food. The easiest way to find out if they're cutting food is just saying, who cut a pineapple in your appointment? What was the reaction? Oh my God, they freaked out. Good. You guys got that? All right. They freak out every time. So you use examples from the group. I even say, hey, who did a demo where you forgot to cut food or you forgot to go to the store? What was that demo like? Oh, it was awful. It was so boring. They didn't get to see anything. Okay, good. Who had a demo where the customer just said they didn't want to cut anything? Isn't it awkward from that point on? Right, so you're teaching them how to stand up and go to the fridge, how to go, fill a igloo cooler and just get some things that you may take for granted. It's like, hey, go to the store and buy tomatoes and a couple pineapples. That's it. That might be all you need for that, is a reminder for them to go to the grocery store on their way to the demo. Having fun. Giving permission to be themselves. Is pretty simple stuff. With building rapport, the thermometer, just give yourself a note. Actually fill out the thermometers. If you say in advanced training, how many times have you promoted it, talked about it, role played it even, and then when you got to their PC a day later, it's still not filled out? 90% of the time, right? If it's that important, which it is, because it wouldn't be in here if it's not important, just spend the time and do it. Like everybody, it's like, as a DM, what if you got 10 packs of magic markers? It's like, hey, markers, we're going to do this all together. And then 100% of your trainees are tying their customers in their goals. That's how you control it. To promoting it and saying, hey guys, talk to your customers or your goals. Say, hey guys, here's a magic marker. Fill in where you're at so far, fill in your goal, and let me teach you how to role play and tie your customers in. So give them time to fill up the thermometer. Have the supplies. What are your stories? Pick out your best 1 or 2 stories of your customers who you've built the best relationship with and how that's affected sales. Whether this person calls me back every year. I didn't even know them until I met them through this person, but I spent 45 minutes building rapport with them, and now they call me back every year. This person's bought over $7,000 worth of Cutco from me. Your best story. Explaining how sharing goals and tying customers in your goals, how that is motivating for customers. Talking about, I would much rather buy something from a salesperson than a store, because when you buy something from a retail store, who profits? The company. You buy something from Amazon makes a lot of money, right? When you buy something from Walmart makes a lot of money. When you buy from a sales rep, that sales rep makes money. Who do you want making money? The big corporate people or the sales rep who's working hard for it? Yeah. Here's the thing about your customers. They've been buying things for a lot longer than you've been selling things. And I promise you, they would much rather buy from you. It makes them feel so much better because they're getting a great product and it also benefits you. So you've got to change their perspective on customers wanting to buy, because a lot of reps, they feel like they're doing something to the customer versus for the customer. So building rapport and tying into goals, it's just a mental shift of your customers want to help you out. Don't be afraid to ask for the order because they want to say yes. They're waiting to say yes. They're planning on saying yes.
To buy from me.
But you need to be the one to role play this. If you have your blue book with your original thermometer, use it. I used to take out my customer list every training. I used to show my names list, show my customer list. I still have it down here. Okay, so building rapport, and you're going through the keys of the demo. You're going through the process of the demo, and you have their blue book out, so they're basically going one page at a time. Okay, going through the close, you role play. You do it pages 8 and 9. Read it word for word. Do it word for word. If you have to use your manual, which you should, have your manual. Don't just try to impress them by memorizing it. If you have it totally memorized and you're so fluid that you're way too good, that's a little overwhelming. You want to be good, confident, but you also want them to know that you still use your script too. Okay, so you role play. Don't blow them away. And then you go over the simple keys. And it's got to be simple. It's simple on purpose because it's got to be no fear, no pressure. You know, all you have to do is read, smile, and be confident. You're going to close sales. All the work is done for you. The simple keys of memorizing, the importance of getting the words in so you can make eye contact, so you can nod and smile. You know, building value, talking about price expectancy. Here's the price of Cutco that's never going to change. If they expect the price to be lower, then it's a bad value. If they expect the price to be equal, then it's a decent value. If they expect the price to be way over, then it's a huge value. The difference between their price expectancy and the actual price is price discrepancy. What people buy is price discrepancy. That's value, right? So that's what people are buying. So you want them to think that each Cutco knife is going to be $1,000, right? So you're explaining the importance of getting a high level. The reason why we compare against Wusthof and Schoen. Not saying prices, it's not $1,273, $1,273. And you role play, you have fun. Let me hear your $1,273 roll off your tongue. You want to get your trainees involved. If they're just sitting and staring at you the whole time and just taking notes, it's boring. You need to get involved. It's like everyone say $1,273. It's like $1,273. No, say it sexy. $1,273. No, better, even sexier. Like you want them laughing and smiling and confident. When somebody says $1,273, how do you think they say it right now? What feeling do some of your reps get in their stomach when they hear $1,273? Okay, right? Teach them how to make $1,273 fun. Teach them how to make every price exciting.
I love looking at the client's face when they tell me actually.
You know, asking for the order. You have to ask because otherwise you're just staring at them, and that's really awkward. Right? So you have to give them an opportunity to say yes, but you also have to give them a comfortable opportunity to say no. You know, smiling and not.
Uh-oh. But we were doing so well. Can anybody hear me? Tyler, can you hear me? You guys can hear me? Okay.
I just talk about when you smile and nod, what does everybody else want to do? Smile and nod back. Try it. When you go home today, when you're at your first red light, just smile and nod to the person next to you in the car. They'll start smiling and nodding back. They might lock their door, but they'll smile and nod back. And then you have them role play. All right, everybody pair up, role play one, and then you work the room. And that's where you're giving out high fives. Oh, you said, 12, that's sexy. It's a sexy 1273, right? And in their demo, when they're saying it, in the back of their head, they're hearing you say those same things. They're like, oh, Katie would be so proud, right? That's all they want to do. They want to make you proud. Objection cycle. It's big. This is life skills. This is the most important thing I'm ever going to teach you in your life. You're going to learn so many things in your life, but you're going to look back 20 years, 30 years, 40 years from now, and you're going to be like, man, that Drew guy, gosh, he changed my life forever. Teach you how to get whatever you want, whenever you want, from whoever you want for the rest of your life. Are you ready? I don't think you're ready. No, this is big. This is a huge deal. If you quit tomorrow, which you're not going to quit because you're going to be a badass in this job. You're going to be badass in this job. I hope you're not that, but you're going to be badass in this job. And I know you're, but the point is, if I just taught you this one thing, I will be your favorite person in the universe forever. So I think it's pretty gonna happen. I just want to put myself up even more. And then you dig into a couple examples of non-Cutco examples. Kid at the swimming pool. Do you guys know these examples? You want me to run through? I'll run through. Okay. Do you know? Do we need to role play it through? Kid at the swimming pool. watch the AT video for it? Okay, we can do that. Getting up, so you use the objection cycle for the non-Cutco examples. 7-year-old going to the pool because his room is not clean. You guys have heard me do that a number of times, getting out of a ticket. But then when you transition to Cutco objections, and you use where you need to, because this is what we're creating is the aha moment. You teach the objection cycle. You give them a life skill that they can use, with their girlfriends and boyfriends and things like that. You can have fun with it. But when you transition to Cutco, you say, "Hey, David, what is about the homemaker you're unsure of?" Too many pieces. Hey, David, I completely understand at first 10 pieces seems like a lot, but most of our customers find that over a lifetime, they will use all those pieces. So what you can do is you can get the homemaker today, and after a week or a couple weeks, there's some pieces you're not going to use. You can send them back and get a full refund. How does that sound? Right? And I know I didn't do that word for word, but the point is, figure it out word for word, do it. And but that's where you say, and then you review the 4 steps, right? You say and then you do the same thing. You say, Adam, what is about the homemaker you're unsure of? Celine, what is about the homemaker you're unsure of? And you do 2 or 3 of them. You say, hey, turn to page 9, and then they just read and role play, right? It's also important for the objection cycle to explain what a knee-jerk reaction is. That goes along with number 7 with the dropping down. Re-explain a knee-jerk reaction. It's when somebody wants to say yes, they say no, because it's easier to say no than it is to say yes. Imagine when you go to a restaurant. Think about going to a restaurant. When the server comes over at the end of the meal and says, "Can I interest you in the what menu?" Dessert menu. Automatically you say what? No. If they walk away and come back 30 seconds later and said, "Hey, have you reconsidered on dessert?" You think some people will say yes? Absolutely. Not everybody, but some people will. That's the key to a homemaker. Who wants to sell twice as many homemakers? The key to selling twice as many homemakers? Just ask, what is it about the homemaker you're unsure of? Because the average rep sells 1 out of 10 homemakers. The average rep who asks this question and handles the objections on bottom page 9, they sell 2 out of 10 homemakers. So if you want to double the amount of homemakers you sell, all you need to do is get good at asking this question, what was it about the homemaker you were unsure of? And read that box at the bottom. That's it. You'll sell twice as many homemakers. That's promotion, right? It's just, why am I doing this? You're giving a reason of why they need to do every step the way you taught, right? And in their head, they're like, of course I'm going to ask that question if I want to sell twice as many homemakers. It's a no-brainer at that point. So the dropping down, the explaining the number on people's head. Everybody has a number on their head between 1 and 7. The amount of time somebody has to be asked to buy something before they feel comfortable saying yes. Some people say yes on the first one. I'm a number 1. I say yes to everything. You should see my apartment. It's insane. Okay. Some people are number 2s. My mom's a number 2. She would never buy the first thing she sees, but she always buys what? The second thing she sees. It's not because she can't afford the first thing she sees. It's because she's not comfortable saying yes right away. She's just not wired for that. She has to say no because she needs to get a no out of the way before she says yes. Okay. So some people are number 3s or 4s. Who knows somebody that has to shop around? Who knows somebody that's wealthy that still likes to shop around? It's because they're 3 or 4s, not because they don't like the homemaker is not the right value. It's because it's the amount of times they have to say no before they feel comfortable saying yes. Turn it into a game. Every demo I went to, every demo I did, I tried to figure out what's their number. Are they a 1? Are they a 3? Are they a 7? If somebody said no, I'd be like, all right, Mrs. Jones, let's see if you're number 2. Oh, not number 2. I bet you're number 3, Nancy. And so have fun with it. You turn it into a game. That way you're excited about dropping down to figure it out. Also, if 6 or 7 out of 10 people buy something and only 1 or 2 out of 10 buy a homemaker, it means 5 or 6 people are buying something other than a homemaker. So if you don't show all the options, you're losing like 80% of your potential sales. That just doesn't make sense. So most people don't buy a homemaker. You can't sell it unless you what? Show it. Okay. And then you go over the keys to selling sets. Here's why you can't skip an option. Add that. I know it doesn't say it specifically here, but you have to really hit hard on the importance of never skipping an option. You're not going to go from the top of the steps to the bottom and just jump down. You're going to go 1 step at a time, right? Because it would be too overwhelming with too big of a jump. Like from a 7 Series BMW to a used BMW without showing the other options in between. And then you can say, and I love my brand new 3 Series, right? So anyway, the point is, you've got to show them the whys of each of the dropping down, of why they're showing each step. The importance to the customer of why we drop down and why you can never skip a set. If you skip a set, you're forcing your customer to spend more money. You're not giving them an option to get a discount. Like if you walked into a store and there was a salesperson and they knew they had discounted options and they only showed you the full price options, how would that make you feel? That's the question. If a salesperson didn't show you the discounted options and they only showed you the full price options, how would you feel? If they didn't show you all the specials, even if you weren't totally interested, would you still appreciate seeing all the specials? That one line, that makes a rep feel comfortable showing Silver Cup specials. It makes them feel comfortable calling in. Hey, even if you weren't totally interested, wouldn't you still appreciate seeing all the sales and specials? You're just making it real, making it tangible.
Points of writing down prices. Should they see not just the price that they're going to spend, but the amount of money they're saving?
Really promoting the 5-pay. Now, this is where you on the drop down is where you reestablish the value of the 5-pay. And this is where I'll do an exercise and I'll talk about what do you spend your money on? What do most families spend between $100 and $300 a month? What's between $100 and $300 a month that most families spend their money on? And you just come up with a list of 10 or 15 things. All of our starter sets are around $100 a month. Our bigger sets are around $200 a month. Our biggest sets are around $300. It's just a normal expense for a family, right? So you're really putting it in perspective. You're doing a disservice to your customer by skipping sets. This is where you also talk about why CSPs love new reps. Oh, let me tell you about our CSPs, our Cutco sales professionals. They love you. By the way, they wanted me to say thank you in advance for selling pieces. Here's why. Because their whole job is based on cleaning up and upgrading, not cleaning up your mess, but upgrading customers after they buy a couple pieces. That's all we do. The average Cutco owner buys 2 or 3 times over a lifetime. So our CSPs, they're seeing people all day, every day, 5 to 7 appointments a day who own pieces, and all they do is upgrade them to sets. So our CSPs wanted to say thank you for selling as many pieces as you do. It keeps them in business. And it's fun, but they get it. They really get it. This is where you're promoting calling from deals and folding memory. If the folding memory, do we have some of my thing in here? The folding memory paper? No? So you always want to have your folding memory paper in here, which is a piece of paper that has 1273 at the bottom corner. The value of Cutco, the value of the homemaker is the whole sheet. What's the price, right? They tell you that they definitely want to buy. They say they're definitely buying no matter what. It's because the value is the sheet of paper. The price is only $12.73. As soon as you leave your house, as soon as you walk out the front door, when they say, well, call me tomorrow, I'm definitely buying the homemaker tomorrow, they're not lying to you because in their heart, they really believe it in the moment. But let me explain psychology is called folding memory. As soon as you walk out the door, they're not feeling it, holding it, touching your seat. It's what happens to the value. Fold in half, price still. But the next day they sleep on it, they forget about how good the handles felt in their hand, they forget about the wedge lock handle, they forget about the double D edge. What happens? The value folds in half. What's the price still? $12.73. A couple days later, they forget about the 15-day trial. They forget about it's dishwasher safe. They forget about the free sharpening. Value folds in half. What's the price still? $12.73. On Friday, when they said, I'm definitely buying the homemaker no matter what. I'm buying a Ricky. I'm going to get that homemaker. You know what? I'm probably going to get the ultimate, but I can't get anything today. I'm going to get it on Friday. They're not lying to you, but on Friday, what's the only thing they remember? $12.73, right? So sell them sets or sell them something. A trimmer today is better than a promise maker tomorrow. Because if they buy a trimmer today, what are they going to do? Probably in a month or 2. They're going to upgrade to the whole set because they still have the value. They're holding that trimmer.
So I'm going to pause this if you guys can see this. You take a sheet of paper. This is how you explain the difference between price versus value, right? So you ask them, what's the price of the homemaker? How much is it? $12.73. What's the value of the homemaker when you're over there? The entire space of the paper, right? But the moment you leave their house, the moment that they decide not to buy and they say, I want to buy, but I have to wait until next week. Well, the moment that that happens, the price stays the same, right? $12.73, but their memory of the value folds what? In half. The next day comes by. All of a sudden they have more bills. Maybe something else happens. They get a surprise. Something happens, right? Whatever. And the price is still what? $12.73. But 1 week later, a couple days later, their memory of how good Cutco was and the value of it goes where again? In half. So we went from this huge sheet of paper all the way down into this. 1 week later, 1 month later, right? Value goes in half. And the price is still $12.73. This looks like a heck of a lot bigger when you're comparing it to that size value, right? Than when you're comparing it to this size value, right? Everybody is honest. Everybody wants to buy Cutco. They have full intentions to purchase from you in the future. But the problem is that every day that goes by that you're not using Cutco, the value goes in half. I've personally experienced that. You guys have too. I went on a trip to Ireland with the company for free. It was awesome, but I didn't use Cutco for a total of like 8 or 9 days. And I came back, we had a get together with my family over at my house. My mom said, hey, can you help me make the salad? I said, absolutely. I busted out the slicer. I hadn't used it for 10 days. I started cutting fresh, lettuce in a ball. And the first cut I made, I was like, oh my gosh. And then I cut again and I looked at my mom and I was like, Mom, have you used this? And she's like, yes, you sell it. You've been selling it for a couple of years. I was like, I know, but check this out. And I got blown away at how good Cutco was again because I hadn't used it for 9 days. Every day. By the way, if you're a sales rep and more than 24 hours goes by that you didn't actually use your Cutco, you're hurting your opportunity to sell the product because you're forgetting how crazy it is. And if you have reps that have an issue with selling Cutco, here's what I recommend doing. You need to make sure you invite them and encourage them to compare the client's knives to Cutco. Oh yeah, they said Cutco was good, but their knives are good enough. Did they use their knives next to Cutco? No. Well, there's the problem. If I ever am doing a demo and I have a client that doesn't give me the wow face, right? The next knife I present, I say, great. So before we cut with our trimmer, what would you normally use to cut a tomato? Yeah, sweet. Can you go ahead and get that knife out? All right, great. So what I want you to do is go ahead and cut a couple of thin slices off with your knife on the tomato. And they're gonna struggle and they're gonna squish and squash and make a mess. And then I'm gonna hand them our trimmer and say, cool. By the way, you don't need it to be delicate, just pull right through. And that's where they get the holy crap face. That's exactly what I want. If I'm not getting that on every single demonstration, I need to immediately readjust what I'm doing and how to get that done because I need to make sure that the value is way higher than the price because people don't buy based on price, they buy based on value, right? But hopefully you understand that now. And managers, you should be using this analogy and this exact sheet of paper, right? Well, not this exact one, but a sheet like it with the written on number every single time you run the advanced training. Cool? All right, back into it. Come on, Drew. You're up. Maybe. Maybe not. Maybe not again.
Is this recording on your YouTube?
This is recording on my computer.
Ooh.
Yeah, that I'm eventually gonna upload to YouTube, but I love the waiting.
A month or two, then the value is still that whole sheet of paper. And then I unfold and I say the value is always there as long as they have one double D-edge knife. So get them a double D-edge knife in their house because it guarantees a future sale. Guarantees. It's impossible not to.
I would rather a client buy a trimmer today than a crappy set of knives from the store tomorrow. Because 6 months down the road, they're going to spend the same amount of money on another crappy set.
How to sell set every time, explain the trade-in special, go through but explain how to do it and spend the time. It's not just promotion of here it is, it's show the prices and walk through the verbiage and use your blue book, like role play as if it was a customer. So, hey, if I'm sitting with my customer, Mr. and Mrs. Jones here, when they say no to the homemaker, but if I kind of feel like they're on the edge, if I think kind of interested, here's how I'm going to present it. You have to show them what you would do in a demo. Because if you just show them, they still don't know how to transition and how to implement that into their appointment, right? So you have to give them the confidence of, oh, no big deal. Can I tell you about this great special that we have? Simple. Can I tell you about this great special that we have? And you're giving them confidence in just presenting. All they have to do is be able to take that first step. If they mess up the verbiage and they say it all wrong, but they offer that set at that price, they're going to make sales. They don't have to do it right. They just have to do it. What you're trying to do is give them confidence to ask the question. It doesn't have to be perfect. It just has to be done. Pull out the special and don't forget to ask them about it. Wish list, page 13 and 14. Actually read through. These are pages in the training manual because they're really, really good. It's probably the most underutilized part of the book. There's $5,000 worth of non-sharp items in our blue book.
It's a
That-
huge
just that
warning
phrase.
nugget.
We have
Write that
$5,000
down.
worth of non-knives.
$5,000 worth of non-sharp.
If somebody just bought an ultimate set yesterday from the person who recommended you to this job,
It's
they
insane.
could still write up a $5,000 order and be totally happy. So you're promoting the average customer buys 2 or 3 times over a lifetime, $5,000 in non-knives. No one buys everything right away. No one buys everything right away. It's so easy to upgrade, Mrs. Jones. It's so easy to upgrade. Just that phrase. Because most customers don't even know that we have an upgrade program. So you're just teaching your reps how to say that. It's so easy to upgrade, Mrs. Jones. Let me show you how. It's just the block and the piece you don't have, and I give you a great discount. So it's building the reps' confidence in presenting. Hey, these people are going to buy, and they're going to upgrade anyway. It might as well be from you. They're going to buy more Cutco anyway. It might as well be from you. And you can't sell it if you don't what?
Show it.
Show it. And the key phrase in the wish list, Mrs. Jones, if I could give you a deal you can't refuse, would you consider getting it today? Mrs. Jones, if I could give you a deal you can't refuse, would you consider getting today? And that leads right into promoting calling in for deals. Cool, let me call my manager. We've got incredible specials. I'm new, so I want to make sure I get you the best deal possible. Let me call my manager just to see what we can do. Virtual demo, building up virtual demo, building up what it can do for their business. I like to paint the picture of what 2 virtual demos a week could do for your business over a campaign. That's 30 new appointments, that's 20 new sales, that's $5,000 extra in sales. If you just did 2 virtuals a week, you're adding over $5,000 in sales to the campaign. If you're at 30%, you made an extra $1,500 just like that by doing 2 virtuals a week. It's simple promotion, but it's painting the picture of what's possible and why it's so valuable. And then you just have them make a list of 10. Most reps, they just don't even make their prospect list. They don't even think about, oh, my mom's best friend lives in New York. Oh, I have an aunt that lives in California. Everybody's got 10 good virtual appointments. How many virtual appointments do you think the average rep does in your office outside of totally non-locals? Only a handful. Your locals, your sharpest kids, they have just as many virtual appointments as they have at local appointments. They could take advantage of it quite a bit. So big promotion on virtual demo. All right, keys to getting more demos. The recommendation script, you just dive into it, and again, it's sequential. And the reason why this is important is because it's right after page 13 and 14 with the gifts and accessories in the wish list. You transition right to, as soon as you write up the order, what's next? Referrals, right? You want them to think about this as an A through Z process. So you do the recommendation script, memorized and confident, word for word. Do not use the script. You shouldn't look at it. This is the one part of the demo that they have to have memorized word for word, and you just drill it and drill it and drill it and drill it. Basics. Why we say what we say, review each line, talk about why that line is important, and then you talk about the peeler program. That's it. For referrals, it's memorize the script. Here's why we say what we say, peeler. Done. Don't overthink referrals. And what would be the other key on that is making sure their notebook is set up perfectly. Definitely, I don't know why I don't have this on the script, but make sure their notebook is set up perfectly and organized. Number 2, objections, same thing. Remind them of knee-jerk reactions. It's easier to say no than it is to say yes. So when you ask for referrals and a customer says, I don't feel comfortable or no, that's not it. It's just, they're just lazy. They just don't want to get up and do it. They don't want to grab their phone and go through the numbers. Of course, they'll hook you up with referrals. Nobody just says no. Sometimes you have to ask twice, though, right? Because it's easier to say no than it is to say yes. They're just pushing you off till later. And if they tell you they're going to get them to you later, they're probably not going to do it. So just make sure you do it now. Because what are the chances they're not going to do it later if they're not motivated enough to do it right now? So just give them that extra little motivation, tell them your goals, get them excited for you, ask again, smile and nod, right? It's basic. But show them the importance of getting leads on the spot and not waiting. So objections, role play each one, have them role play back and forth to each other. Yeses, the promotion of less phone time. What if I could tell you that you'll spend less time on the phone? You know, the phone call will be shorter and quick. And what if I told you that you'll get fewer no's in the phone and every phone call will lead to a demo? You're explaining why yeses are more comfortable for you with the phone call, but you're also explaining why yeses are more comfortable for the customer too. I don't want to bother your friends if they aren't interested. that phrase. I don't want to bother your friends if they're not interested, Mrs. Jones, so I want to make sure that I'm only calling people that already have a heads up. You know, the power of two yeses, doubling your base. It's all philosophy that you're ingraining in your head. If you get 2 yeses every time, every demo leads to 2 more. You're doubling your customer base every time you do a demo. Every week, you're doubling the amount of guaranteed demos you have. It's just like 2 every time. You spend the time, you tie them to your goals, and you just get 2 yeses every time. It's impossible to not become a top rep in this job. It's impossible not to hit 30%. It's impossible not to be on your way to 50. If all you do is get 2 yeses every time, just spend the time. Top 50 list, you're talking about the importance of sticking with their initial names list. A big base, the analogy of 10 feet of water versus 10 inches of water. If you dive into 10 inches of water head first, what happens? You dive. You dive into 10 feet of water head first, what happens? You're fine. Okay, so if you start calling referrals and you only have 10 inches of water, you're going to burn through all those referrals and you won't give yourself enough time to get good before you run out and you'll be out of a job. Give yourself 10 feet of water. If you have a list of 50 or 100 contacts before you start calling referrals, if you do tons of appointments with family and friends, you know your initial name list, and you're practicing, you're getting all the rust off, you're getting your skill set up. So by the time you start seeing referrals, you're so good at the job that you'll keep on expanding your base. So you're explaining the importance of having that big base, giving yourself that buffer. Gears on a car, sticking with people you know. You know, if you go from first gear to fourth gear, you're going to stall out. In this job, if you go from your parents and your grandparents to people that you've never met before, you're going to completely stall. So what happens with some reps, if they do that, they jump in sales and then they jump straight to referrals and they have this major dip and it takes twice as much effort to pull back up that hill. So the key is going from gear 1 to gear 2 to gear 3 to gear 4 in a smooth transition. That means showing immediate family and friends to people that we're really familiar with, to people that we're kind of acquainted with, and referrals. And that's where I teach the inverse relationship of how this job should work. Your fast start should be 100% people you know, 0% referrals. Your second week after your fast start should be 75% people you know, 25% of referrals. After that, the next week, 50-50. After that, maybe 25%. You shouldn't be predominantly on referrals for at least a month, if not 2 to 3 months into this job, depending on how many appointments you're doing. But you're promoting the importance, and then you tell stories of your best reps and how long they stayed with their initial list. This is where you want to come up with a list of who are your best reps of all time and how long was it before they called their first referral. Jake Bergman, he didn't call his first referral until after he was at $30,000 in sales. Did 30 grand in sales before he called his first referral. How many stories can you come up with that and talk about why? And if you have them on your staff, that's the person you want to cameo, talk to your group every advanced training. You know, this chicken list, Maz remembers every advanced training, I would teach my staff to be close by this door because I'm going to pull you in. I'm going to say, who is your number 1 chicken? Tell me the story. Who are you afraid to call and what happened? Yeah, they just walk in. It's like, oh, I called my neighbor. I was so afraid. It took me like 3 weeks. Oh, they bought an ultimate set. Right? And it's like, and everyone else is like, why didn't you call right away? I know. This is what I'm saying. Right? So it's you just use as many examples as you can. This is where you go through each of the categories. Facebook, neighbors, right? This full-on chicken list of, well, I skipped around there. But so you'll get to that in a second. But top 50, and here's why you want to have your top 50 and page 31 before you do your chicken list. I don't want people to think that their initial names list and their friends' parents are chickens, right? So we would teach chicken lists, and then we'd say, okay, let's call page 31, and that would create a little bit of inherent fear. I want page 31 to be like, this is your friends. This is your best resource. So we're going to talk about your friends' parents, and then we'll talk about the people that you're afraid of calling. You shouldn't be afraid to call your friends. What's the worst thing they can say no? If they say no, seriously, are you going to be probably going to be friends with them a year from now anyway? No. After college, 5 years from now, you're going to have 4 friends. Exactly 4 friends you're getting from high school anyway, so it doesn't really matter. You might as well take advantage of their moms for sales. Okay, so be honest, it's true. But anyway, so teach page 31. role play. Have them role play. This is a 4-hour advanced training, and most of it should be role playing. You should be talking for 50% of the time, and they should be role playing and doing activity for 50% of the time. Yes. Yes. Good. Chicken list. Who closed that window? Open it back up. Jeez. All the way. You're not going to upset your friends. All right. And then, so for page 31, and if they have this big list of friends' parents, they need their hit list of 10. You've got to create bite-sized samples. Otherwise, they're not going to take the first step. If they come up with a list like, oh, I've got 100 friends from high school I'm going to call, that's overwhelming. Yes, they might do it. Some of them might, but pick out 10. Who are the 10 that you're committed to calling today? The 10 that you're committed to calling today. Because in the phone jam, you want them to call their top 50. You want them to call their 10 friends to get parents' numbers. You want them to call a couple of the virtual demos to get a couple of virtual set, right? You want them to practice each of the scripts that you did during the training during the phone jam. If you don't do it during the phone jam, if they don't role play and practice, what are the chances they're going to do it at home? And if they don't do it right away when they get home, what are the chances that they're going to do it tomorrow, the next day, or the next day? 0. And you just lost that rep. So if they don't do these skills in training, don't build their confidence in doing all these skills in training, they're never going to do it. Phone skills. Let's talk about how to call these people. Guess what? You already learned. Let's just review the basics, right? You turn to page, whatever. That's why it's always about turn to page this, turn to page this. And in training, it's literally page 1 through 29 of the demo, right? Like the training manual. You're just going one page at a time because it's the exact order of the manual. The simple key is follow the script, choice 2, urgency, importance, confirm, and thank you. Nothing advanced. Nothing advanced. Role play with objections. Talk about consistency. This is where you explain 10 phone calls a day. Let me show you about what 10 phone calls a day can do for you. 20 phone calls a day. And you say, hey, I'm interested in making 50. The one rep, I'll do it. Good. And that's it. It's just, it's a science. This job is science. Top of the funnel, input, output. Talking about 10 ahead. Reviewing 5 before and 5 after, right? These are all your quick stump speeches with phone skills. Proper goals. Breaking down their FASTER goal, reminding them the importance of working twice as hard. There's an inverse relationship. This is the philosophy of the FASTER, is the inverse relationship between how much you work and how much you earn. When you first start, the effort you put in matches. You never do, right? The effort you put in when you first start is equal to the amount of money you make. You work your ass off, you get a really nice paycheck, but you start hitting 15%, 20%, 25, 30. I mean, you're working a part-time schedule, making full-time income. You work hard in your fast start. You hit a couple of promotions, and then for as long as you want, whether it's the next semester in school, the next 4 years in school, or for the next decade of your life, you're making ridiculous income, and there's an inverse relationship between how hard you work and how much you make. And you're making a lot more for the effort, and you'll feel like you are overvalued for your position at every promotion that you hit. So you're teaching them why it's important to start. To work hard, and I get off to a fast start. Dirty 30 breakdown. Break down their campaign goal, and it's always based on demos, an average of demos per day, average number of demos per day, or average number of demos per week. If it takes 40 appointments, to hit 10K, roughly, right? Roughly 40 appointments to hit 10K. Well, that's 10 demos a week. If you can do 10 appointments a week, you'll hit 10K by the end of the month. Time management, spend a lot of time on this. Markers, highlighters, give their planners, teach them how to be great at time management. Your assistant manager staff, how great are they at time management? Use their examples. If you talk about, Rick, you talk about doing the 10K wall, have a wall of examples of schedules or a binder that you can pass around. You guys want to learn great time management? You put the rep or your assistant manager's name, an example of what a push week looks like with demos and dollar signs and phone times and meetings and things like that, and show them what time management looks like. It's the most important skill in this job, and you're promoting that. You're teaching them how to create a schedule, because this is skills for life. This is why we're taught in colleges. This is why Cutco is a guaranteed interview with every Fortune 500 company. It's not because you know how to sell a double D-edged knife. It's because you know how to manage your own schedule, manage your goals, and achieve things based on self-motivation and self-accountability. That's why we're a guaranteed job, not because you know a lot about thermoresin. So let me teach you how to get any job you want for the rest of your life. That's time management. And if you can make a schedule and commit to a 7-day schedule, think about how confident that's going to make you in being able to run your own business or control your own schedule or to do anything you want from this point forward. Give it 7 days. Go all out. Manage your time, micromanage yourself, work as hard as you can. It's going to give you the confidence that you can do anything after Cutco. You talk about how school is easier with time management, not having to pull all-nighters, not being overwhelmed, not being anxious. But plug in all their activity. This is basically a group PC. That way, when you actually do their first PC, it's relationship building and driving activity, not spending 15 minutes breaking down and putting dollar signs and X's. That should be done as a group. Anything you can do as a group should be in advanced training. That way, the PC is so much more powerful. Number 10, the last one, the phone jam. You're explaining the importance of the phone jam, how a phone jam works, how to fake it till you make it until you get your first one lined up. Hey, don't be the person in the room that looks like they're at 0. Don't be sitting there upset because nobody's answering. I don't want to know how many people have answered their phone, right? Your attitude has to stay consistent because the first person that answers, they need all your energy, right? So you're teaching them how to stay upbeat through their phone jam. You're teaching them how to stay positive, teaching them how to use their phone voice. Teach them how to smack the bell with enthusiasm, put the tally mark up with style, right? Make it fun, create the energy. And you want them to call 10 friends to get their parents' numbers, call their top 10 to 20 from their initial 50 best names, and call mom and dad for more numbers. In one of the sections with the names list, when Matt was talking about tying their parents in, that's where you do the stump speech on parents. You do that as a group also in advanced training. Is here's how you talk to your parents about how to get more names and talk about the importance of tying in your family to your goals. So that would be part of the chicken list. And then finally is personal recruiting. It's your stump speech, recognition, and I'm not going to go in detail with this, but 20 minutes on recognition, review of the expectations for PRs, promoting Silver Cup, promoting Team Builder Scholarship, showing the rankings, talking about how easy it is to get there, paying it forward, changing people's lives. I wouldn't be here if it weren't for this program, just your full-on, most intense, powerful PR stump speech, and then just ask them to help. Say, hey guys, I'm just asking for your help. At this point, the ask is so much easier because if they showed up to advanced training, they're committed to being here, right? They're committed to being here. And especially if they're over their first promotion, that's where you say, I need you guys to absolutely load it up. Social media, Tim, it does a really good job at advanced training of having everybody post on their social media sites. Promote the Upgrade Your Fast Start contest. I mean, that should be a big promotion of extending your Fast Start indefinitely to win all the prizes, win the limo. As you guys know, the limo is part of the Extend Your Fast Start. So if they hit 10K with the extension, totally fine. I didn't check the time. It's probably way over, but whatever. It's great. I feel good. It's great. All right. Nick, okay on your end?
Good, Drew. Thanks for
I
asking.
hope this recorded.
All right. Look at that face. Isn't that a great Drew face to pause on? You're welcome. All right. Good. Any nuggets? Thumbs up? Any highlights? Any light bulbs going off? Yes? A couple of you throwing on some good stuff. Good. Well, I'm going to stop the share. I know we went a little bit over, but again, with our technical difficulties earlier, man, I need to screenshot that pause of Drew right now. That is awesome. Command-Shift-4. I think I will do that and be able to game that. I will forever blackmail him. Just kidding. So a couple of assignments for everybody. I hope that was valuable. I know some of you, it's your first meeting ever. So you're sitting here and you're like, why are you teaching me how to run advanced training? Well, we're not trying to teach you how to run advanced training. We're trying to teach you the fundamentals of being a good coach and a good leader in a business like this, right? And you got to understand that everything that we teach in advanced training is everything that you need to be reiterating on PDI and PCs and phone jams. And when you go to conferences, it's the culture, it's the identity, it's the vibe that we want to create in the Great Plains division, right? And as we start to really take over, as we start to to continue our reign, as we continue our reign of being one of the fastest growing growing divisions in the company, we need to make sure that we are deeply rooted and convicted in the culture that we want to create. And we need to make sure that people understand that this job is simple if they just follow the program, that they just master the fundamentals, right? So if you're sitting here right now taking lots of notes, I'm sitting here looking at lots and lots of notes, details written down, word for word lines, like start to reiterate those to yourself, start to practice them, start to role play them, start to think them and believe them, right? Because these are the things that are going to level us up. These are the things that are going to attract so many more people to our job. And when we're all following the same similar program, we're all going in the same direction. It's amazing how much momentum can be built from that, right? So you want to make sure that you're looking at these things, you're learning them, and I'll tell you that I love running training, but I would not trade advanced training for the world. The advanced training is where I get to see light bulbs. I love sitting in front of my groups. Last summer, the pilot office out in Oklahoma City, we had 59 people show up to one training. We had 120 people sat. We had 59 show up to one training. 48 of those people got a sample kit on the second day and left. So I'm standing in front of a room of 48 people all at once. And that was great. But what I loved is when over 30 of those people were able to make the advanced training and come back in, and I was able to share some of those examples, tell some of those stories, and I was able to watch their face, and they might have sucked, they might have rocked it, but they were having light bulbs go off the whole time. And I'm like, hey, this is why we do what they do. And they're like, that makes sense. I'm ready to jam, right? It's when things click. It's when somebody gets it. It's when you teach somebody how to think and the whys behind the whats, right? John Vroman, the owner, one of the co-founders of, it's not the owner, right? It's a nonprofit, but the Front Row Foundation, one of the co-founders, he says that when your why has heart, your how grows legs. And if you know your why, it's easy to do the how. But how many of our people just don't understand why we teach what we teach, why we do what we do? They don't get it. And when they don't get it, they're not willing to do it because they're not going to follow the how. Right? So hopefully there were some light bulb moments for you guys watching that, figuring things out and saying, oh, that makes more sense now, right? And that's why we do what we do. Sound good? So a couple of assignments for everybody on the call right now, and then we'll take a quick break before we dive into our division meeting. I know we went over, so you don't get your full 30-minute break, but technical difficulties, held us back. So number one assignment for everybody is this. You need to memorize your recommendations approach, page 16 to 17. If I were to offer a $100 bill right now to anybody who could stand up word for word, say page 16 to 17, without a doubt, without looking down, without any question, would you be able to be the person who's like, maybe? Or would you be like me? Pick me, yep, right here. And if you were that person, you'd probably be one of the only people on this room right now that could say me. And I've made $100 with that bet before from my managers, so that's why I tell you it now. I haven't done demos for years, guys. I still sell Cutco. I get reorders. I get some calls. I'm already at 315 for the week. Boom, don't get beat by the old guy. But I know my recommendation word for word. If somebody put up that bet for me right now, I'd be the guy saying me, pick me. I know it word for word. You know why? Because that one page made me a lot of freaking money. That one page helped me graduate debt-free from college. That one page allowed me to put me in the position where I could raise a family on a single income and have a cool lifestyle. So what if memorizing one page could do everything in your future dreams? Would it be worth it? Would you spend the time? Would you sit down 15 minutes a day? So get that thing down, right? Assignment number 2 is to memorize your close, pages 8 and 9. How can you call yourself a professional if you don't know the main freaking thing? There's a major difference from when you ask from the head and you ask from the heart. Asking from the head doesn't have nearly as much conviction. When you're looking down and you're saying, so let me tell you why so many people choose to invest in Cutco. You'll always have the right tool for the right situation. Yeah, I'm good. I know the manual. I helped Drew write it. Here's the point, right? If you read that, it doesn't come across the same as if you can look at someone in the eyes and say, hey, Ms. Jones, let me tell you why so many people choose to invest in Cutco. When you look at them and you say, the great part about the Homemaker is it's not $4,000, Ms. Jones. In fact, it's not even $3,000, or whatever, the $2,435. But the great thing about the Homemaker set, Ms. Jones, it's only $1,273. And you look at them, you smile, you have conviction behind your voice, there's a major difference. And they know that you're serious about success and they want to help you and support you in your conquest. You also need to think about memorizing the objections. When a client says no, well, how smooth are you with saying, cool, no big deal. If you don't mind me asking, what was it about the Homemaker that you're still a little bit unsure of? Got it. So you're just saying like it's a little bit too much money? Cool. Well, hey, no problem, Ms. Jones. I completely understand. We get that a lot. But honestly, when you say too much money, $1,273 is a lot all at once. And so that's why almost all of my customers realize that the payment plan is the way to go. And when they break it down, just like I wrote down here, and it comes out to only $273, so much more affordable and easier for their budget. So I'll tell you what, why don't we go ahead and do this? I'm going to call my manager and see if I can get you a little bit better deal. And let me ask you, was it just too much money or too many pieces? It was? Okay, cool. Hold on a second. Really want to hook you up. When you have that level of certainty and conviction, you're there to serve, not to sell, and people want to buy from you because nobody likes to be sold, right? So memorize page 99, get them down, because amateurs practice until they get it right. Professionals practice so they can't get it wrong. Who do you want to be? Right? And the third thing you need to memorize is your phoning. You need to memorize the phone script. You need to memorize how to handle objections. When people say, I'm busy, call me back next week, the hardest part of phoning is getting somebody to answer the darn phone. So when they answer the darn phone, you're 90% of the way there. Why would you give up so easily and say, okay, no big deal. What's a good day to call? Hey, Ms. Jones, I completely understand. I'm really busy too, but I got to hit my goals. So I'll tell you what, I'm still going to be in your area. What's the day that's least busy? It would really mean a lot to me. Saturday or Sunday? Okay, you're busy both days. Well, what's the lesser busy? Okay, Saturday, listen, I can even come over late. A lot of people assume that you're like a normal employee of a company and you can only do appointments Monday through Friday, 9 to 5. They don't get that you can work late or work the weekends or control your own schedule until you tell them. So you've got to know those objections. You've got to be able to be confident in your ability to be able to get what you want and handle objections, right? So master those things. Become CPR certified no matter what, all right? Last big assignment for everybody is to sit in your office with your manager for a day and learn Vector Live. We don't have the time to go over it now, but you need to learn Vector Live. If you don't feel confident with Vector Live, we're going to have issues with you doing your job as a leader, because your number one job as a leader is to help build the team, and the way we build the team is through recruiting, and the way we track recruiting is through Vector Live. So if you're sitting here right now and you're like, I don't even know what Vector Live is, step 1, get an account with your manager. Step 2, watch the necessary videos so you can unlock the account. Step 3 is learn how to navigate and use the system, right? And step 4 is to start using it, right? Get that stuff done. Because the bottom line is Vector Live is the best tool we've ever had. It's a custom-built system by our corporation. Nobody else has it for exactly recruiting purposes. And it tracks everything. You can search a phone number from any computer, and anybody that's ever gone into our system, that phone number nationwide will pop up. It's crazy. You should do it for yourself one time. I remember looking my phone number up, and I'd been in the system 8 different times. I'd just never known it because people kept recommending me, but I was never getting calls. Right now, throughout our entire division, we have over 28,000 names and numbers of people that have never been contacted. That's like you as a rep having like, what, 2,800 leads and being like, yeah, I don't really want to make phone calls. That's what we're doing right now in our recruiting base. We have all the information. We have all what we need. We just need to take the action, right? So learn Vector Live, take advantage of it. You need to get that done. Cool? All right. Other than that, don't forget assignments moving forward. You need to film a 30-minute session of you making a PR call, right? Or making a few. How good are you at PR calling? How good are you at talking to people and coming and convincing them to come in and check out the job? I don't care if they like it. I tell people all the time that I'm totally fine with people not being interested in this job. But what I can't stand is when people, A, don't know the job exists, or B, don't know what the job really is. We went to a job fair today. We talked to a lot of students. Many of them had heard of the Vector name, but they didn't really get it. And then when they really understood what it was, they were more than excited to go and come in and check it out. But people make assumptions. People hear things. People say things that aren't always true. And so we need to be out there taking initiative, taking action to get people to know the truth, right? Cool. And the last thing is, if you're a branch or a new district manager, don't forget to sign your office opening form, and also make sure that you break down your summer goals. Get me the spreadsheet, week by week recruiting goals, week by week CPO goals, and let's make it happen. Sound good? All right. Well, I'm going to end the recording. I appreciate it, Great Plains. And I am fired up for our division meeting in 5 minutes. I'm going to end this meeting. We will dive back into another one and kick it off. And thank you guys for